We're going to talk about maintenance today on Home on the Hitch, the things that you should be doing on a regular basis to make sure either your tow vehicle or your motor-driven RV are ready to go when you are. So stick around, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. One thing that can really mess up your trip is if you have a mechanical issue. One way to negate that as much as possible is to keep up with your maintenance. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. The things that I do, the things that you should be doing on a regular basis to preemptively head that stuff off at the pass. So here we go, number one. All right guys, number one's engine oil and filter change. Make sure that you're changing your engine oil and filter on a regular basis, that you're changing it per the manufacturer specifications using the correct oil. And it is okay to actually change your oil a little early if you want to. So everybody's got a different opinion on oil changes and filter changes. I'm of the mindset that I'm going to go by the manufacturer's recommendation, actually usually a little bit before that. I've got a 2016 Titan XD turbo diesel, and Nissan recommends 10,000 miles under regular use. So I usually change it from 8 to 10,000 miles. If we do a lot of towing, we do a lot of traveling, then I change it before that. The trip that we took out west to Utah and Arizona, in that area, I changed the oil and the filter before we left, and we did about 5,600 miles round trip, changed it when we got back. So all right, number two. All right guys, so number two kind of goes along with the diesel theme. If you're driving a diesel and you're gonna have fuel filters to change. Diesel is a dirty fuel, and you're getting it at these truck stops and stations everywhere. So it's very, very important to change your fuel filters again, per your manufacturer's recommendations. With my truck, Nissan again recommends 10,000 miles on the filters. Has two filters, actually it's got three. We've got a additional tank here that has a separate filter. The fuel that goes through this is filtered. There's a filter at the fuel pump back here, and then a third filter in the engine compartment right in there. When you change those diesel fuel filters, you're going to see that those things are nasty, and it's really important to keep that out of your engine, especially out of your lift pump, because if that thing, the bearings go out on your lift pump, it'll send shrapnel through the whole fuel system and you are done. All right guys, we're going to check out number three. 2 plus 1, 3. All right guys, so nobody likes to be stuck on the side of the road, so number 3 is going to be making sure that you keep up with your transmission, the filter, the fluid, change the fluid when it's time to change the fluid, and again, that's going to be per your manufacturer's recommended specifications. A lot of vehicles, it's not really that hard to check and change the fluid. Or do a drain and fill, which is what I'd usually do. My truck came with a drain plug in the transmission fluid pan, so it makes it really easy to pull that plug, drain about half of the capacity out of the entire system. That's about what you'll get when you do a drain, because you're not going to get everything out of the torque converter or the cooling lines or anything like that, but you can tell the condition of the fluid. I do that every so often and make sure there's no metal particles in there or anything like that, no signs of excessive wear. So number 4 is something that you gotta have, but I hate dealing with. I hate buying them. I like them when they're there, and that's tires. Tires can be super expensive, but you gotta make sure you have good tires. You gotta make sure you rotate your tires. I rotate my tires every 6,000 miles. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you keep a watch on your tires. That goes for your, right now we're just talking about your tow vehicle, your motorized RV, but you're going to want to make sure you keep track of those on your travel trailers as well. Not sponsored, but I tell you what, these are some great looking tires. These are Patriot Tire Rugged Terrains. and I absolutely love them. They look great. Made a big difference on the way the truck looks, and actually rides a little bit better over the stock tires. Love it. All right, guys, so number 5 is going to kind of have to do with wheels and tires, and that's going to be your brakes. Check your brakes, change the pads when you need to. You always want to keep a good eye on your brakes, because brakes are super important, probably one of the more important things. It's always nice to be able to stop. You know, people pull out in front of you, and it takes a lot longer to stop when you're pulling an RV or when you weigh 2 or 3 tons in your drivable RV. So always keep a good tab on the condition that your brakes are in. As well, use good pads and components when it's time to change them. The next one is something that people forget about or neglect to check and take care of on a regular basis, and that is going to be your engine coolant. Super important, especially since the prime RV season is in the spring and summer, and people are traveling around in the heat, out in the desert, towing up these really high and steep grades. That's going to help your engine work at optimum efficiency and help make sure that you have a good trip. Because I know, just like me, when you're going up those big grades, that one of the 2 or 3 gauges that you're really watching is your engine temperature, and that's the time that you start questioning whether or not you have enough coolant or good coolant, or should have checked it before you left. So keep an eye on your radiator and your coolant. Make sure that's not an issue. All right, next up, I've got 2 of them on my truck. A lot of diesels do, and that's going to be your battery. So I got 2 batteries on my truck. A lot of diesels do. You want to make sure you have clean battery posts. You have a protectant on the terminals. Battery over there, battery over there. Definitely not good to get somewhere, turn off your truck, and then it won't start back. Especially if you're not anywhere close to either a dealership or a store that sells batteries, and sometimes it can cost a pretty penny to get another one. So always check that battery. They're only good for so many years. So, all right, next up, something that I recently changed. You don't have to change it too often, but it is something that you need to pay attention to if your vehicle, well, with all vehicles, but especially if your vehicle is equipped with a serpentine belt, like my truck is. If that belt breaks, everything stops working. Your alternator stops working, your water pump stops working, the fan stops working, the mechanical fan, I should say. So in other words, you're dead in the water. So I just changed, I've got about 50,000 miles, which that is a little bit too much actually, but I just put a new belt on the day before yesterday. The old belt is still in good shape, so what I do with that is keep that, put it in the toolbox in the back of my truck as a spare, and I always make sure that I have the wrench available, the correct size to leverage on that tensioner pulley, so I could change it on the side of the road if I needed to. That is really an easy fix if you have the belt. It takes about 5 minutes to put on, and you're back in business. So always make sure you've got an extra. When you change that belt, just keep the old one if it's in decent shape, just in case of an emergency. Man, it's hot out here. These bumblebees are crazy. With another truck that we had before that we were pulling with, we did have some failures, you know, when we were 9-10 hours away from home. So it throws a monkey wrench in everything. So we ended up having to store the RV in a small town in North Florida, and was able to make it home in the vehicle that we were driving, and then I had to rent a truck to go back down there a few weeks later to bring the RV home. I would not recommend trying it. If you've got any questions, call your dealer, call the manufacturer, they'll be able to tell you. I think it's just best to stay on top of that stuff. I've found that preemptive maintenance goes a long way. What's the old saying? Ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave us a thumbs up and a comment if you did. Leave us a comment below and let us know what kind of maintenance you do on your vehicle, what kind of maintenance issues you've had, or whatever I missed that you do. that's a good idea, put it in the comments, because I'm always looking for better ideas and ways to be safer and more prepared on the road. So please put that below. Like I said, give us a thumbs up, and thank you all for watching. Make every moment count, and join us here on Home on a Hitch for the next video.